Hi, my name's Anthony, and today I want to talk about some YouTube stuff. A little bit about myself first, though, I guess. I'm an undergraduate student. I'm 22 years old. I'm at the University of Southern California's Media Arts and Practice Division at the film school at USC in Los Angeles. I have been trying to study YouTube over the past couple years, but it's really difficult because as an undergraduate student, there is no real curriculum to do that. I'm lucky to be in a program where I have lots of professors who are willing to give me support in specializing in this one particular field of study. I have lots of great mentors, and I appreciate them very much. And I appreciate too all the work that you guys are doing. Right? There's a lot of grad students out there who are doing just excellent work. Looking into YouTube, the social dynamics of YouTube, the economics and politics of YouTube. These are sort of the subjects that I'm generally interested in learning about and talking about and thinking about. So thank you guys so much for doing what you do and for having this conference and for having me here at this conference. My goodness. Where do I start? I guess I want to talk first about some of the main ideas that inform the way I think about YouTube. The first one is this idea of parasocial interaction. So this is hopefully something that has been discussed this weekend. It's just a really important idea, I think. Parasocial interaction is this one-sided intimacy at a distance. It's this it's a way of describing the relationship that exists between a media persona and the audience that they accrue. I think that this is an important effect, because fans need to recognize that the people who they idolize online are just images, right? It's a safety thing. If you're a young fan and you look up to someone, you can be taken advantage of by that person because there's a power dynamic there. The persona has this power over a fan. Likewise, I think it's important to teach creators about this, because when they end up with a big audience, they need to have an understanding of this responsibility that comes with having an audience. So I think this is just a good model for explaining to people, hey, look, you gotta be careful about what you do. You can't just act like you normally would around your fans. It's a sort of a dangerous thing. I also think that parasocial interaction is important to understand because it kind of underpins the entire influencer marketing economy. The reason that YouTubers are approached by brands to do marketing deals is because traditional advertising is not trusted. Creators are, right? So if you can insert the advertising into that trusted space, then that's going to be more lucrative for you as a brand than traditional advertising in some cases. So there's sort of social and economic reasons for being interested in this topic. It's kind of the lens through which I see everything that happens on YouTube is this parasocial effect. So another super important idea for me is Henry Jenkins' concept of participatory culture. So when I read the white paper for participatory culture back in 2013, I guess I was 18 years old, this was a huge deal for me because it so perfectly described my experience growing up online. I'm sure that this is something that y'all are talking about a whole bunch because just Henry Jenkins is super popular. I think that taking both these ideas, participatory culture and parasocial interaction, and molding them together is a really important idea, and I hope that someone goes and does that at some point. Please take that idea and go and do that work for me because, I think that some people, when they read about participatory culture, they think, every community should be this way. This is a way of transforming media culture and bringing about, a better society, essentially. That's what I felt when I first read it. It was every media culture should be participatory. This is positive and good always. But really, it's not always, right? You see with cases of YouTube abuse, right? You see creators taking advantage of younger fans. So I think it's important to sort of take these two ideas and mash them together when you read about YouTube. I think it's sort of the good and the bad of the new media culture. So lately, my main interest has been the history of vlogging. So vlogging has a history that begins far before YouTube. I mean, far. It begins maybe 5-6 years before YouTube. I'll just touch on one point that I think is really important. So a lot of the early vloggers actually come from the world of public access TV. So in the US, public access is it's based on this idea that anyone, any citizen, any tax-paying citizen should be allowed to use the network infrastructure of television to have their voice heard. It's based on the idea that that for-profit corporations shouldn't be the only ones who control what is seen and what is not on television. And I think these are good ideas. And I sort of grew up watching vloggers who shared these ideas. There was a general feeling that vloggers were like, we were like the rebels, and traditional media was the empire. We were like sticking up for free expression and like art for art's sake, and we had all these values of basically, like, in retrospect, it was pretty like incredible radical like liberatory politics. The idea was, okay, well, once everyone has a camera in their hand, once media has been democratized, we'll have a better, more equitable society. And in the past couple of years, I've sort of been questioning, in what ways has that vision been realized, and in what ways hasn't it been realized? Everyone does have a camera. We do have democratized media, and also water is wet. Like, I'm kind of tired at marveling at the fact that media has been transformed over the past couple of years. This is the air I breathe. I'm not interested in being like, whoa, cool, because we don't have the utopia that I expected. What we have is Donald Trump and Marine Le Pen and reactionary movements all over the world, and it's terrifying. Here I find myself as an undergraduate student trying to study media, and nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows how to confront these issues. Well, I study YouTube because it's my history and it's our history. It's kind of the history of growing up thinking that technology was going to bring about utopia, and then realizing, it's not really that way. I really truly think this is not a time for optimism. This is not a time to be, cheering about how great democratized media is. We have a lot of problems to deal with right now. My hope is that we in academia are able to confront these challenges productively in the next couple of years. I think that any work that's done on YouTube or on vlogging needs to sort of be aware of the current moment and the failure of media democratization, right? I think that we need to develop a curriculum for undergraduate students to be able to study YouTube and digital video generally in a much more deep and critical way. Because right now, there's a huge gap, and film school and media studies, these are not the kinds of programs that are helping us teach people how to confront the problems that we're dealing with right now. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. I really appreciate your time, everybody, and I appreciate the work that you're doing. My email is here. It's adangelo@usc.edu. My Twitter is @coolwebfriend, and I would love to be in touch with anybody. I'd love to talk about the work that you're doing. I apologize again for my terrible monolingualism, but hopefully you guys have been able to bear it. But yeah, peace, guys. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.